Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I'm not here with Geeky Sparkles. She's sitting this video out. We're going to talk about the utter state of the Western video game industry, specifically the AAA game industry. It's not good. It's really not good. The whole thing is imploded. It's gone. It's not coming back. Not in the way that it was before. And we're going to talk about more and more Asian companies shutting down their Western game divisions. We reported yesterday on Square-Enix, gutting California, gutting London, trying to pivot back to Japanese games, Japanese style games, because that's what made the company. That's what made Square. And now we've got another company. We've got NetEase closing another Western studio 2 years after it was founded. And look, I think they're kind of taking a look at the landscape and what gamers are buying, and it's not a lot of this stuff coming out of Portland. I mean, let's be honest. Gamers don't want this stuff. Most gamers don't want this stuff. And at the end of the day, it's all about sales, right? You look at the games that are selling really well, and there's a lot of them are Japanese or Eastern developed games. You look at how successful they've been with Marvel Rivals and all of that, but we're going to talk about it. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Again, Geeky sitting this out. You can still back her pin campaign. We're going to leave it open probably for a week or two beyond the end of the campaign, so you'll have time to pick up whatever we have left, basically. We're going to place an order for a set number of pins. I didn't make the cut. You didn't want to build a neon snowman. That's okay. I'm okay. I'm okay with that. It's not about me this time. But I did do the little Santa retro UFO thing here. But it's out on Kickstarter. Check it out. You've got probably, I don't know, a week or two, whenever we feel like shutting it down. But or whenever we run out of pins. Like I said, we're going to finalize the order with the manufacturer. And what we order. And that's pretty much it for this year. So thank you very much for that. Yeah, a lot of people talking about the state of the gaming industry, and it's a self-inflicted wound. Let's be honest. They've been shipping incomplete games, charging through the nose for them. You had developers out there running at the mouth about politics and everybody trying to unionize, which just drives up the costs. And I think Japan, China, and other countries have basically had it. They're like, look, this is not sustainable. We can't do this. We can't pay a bunch of people $250,000 a year to help us lose money. And there have been many huge money losing AAA titles over the last couple of years. And they got, especially Square got hammered, man. They got talked into releasing, was it Forspoken was one of them, and then the Marvel game from Square, Crystal Dynamics, that was a huge failure, and they've lost a lot of money on Western games. Now NetEase is closing down another studio, and they just started this one like 2 years ago. So NetEase closes a fifth Western studio just 2 years after it was founded. Bad Brain Game Studios will shut down for good next week. It's come from PC Gamer. Bad Brain was founded in August of 2023, but NetEase opted to end its partnership with the studio just 2 years later. Yeah, that's crazy. Did they even put anything out? Just 3 days after Greg Street confirmed that Fantastic Pixel Castle is closing due to the lost. Wow, okay. I didn't realize that they were closing another one down. Fantastic Pixel Castle. What the hell is Fantastic Pixel Castle? So, yeah. Wow. Okay. MMO. Okay. Oh, this guy. Okay, yeah. Led by former WoW designer Greg Street, looks to be as dead as his studio officially closes after NetEase ends funding. Yeah, they're like, hey, we're done. We're done with Western games. He said, yeah, another NetEase-backed studio says it suffered the same fate. Bad Brain Game Studios, founded in 2023 and headed by former Ubisoft Toronto lead producer Sean Crooks, announced today it will close its doors on November 17th, the same day as Fantastic Pixel Castle, being unable to find a new source of funding. Or you could make a smaller game and you could kickstart it, or you could sell it on Steam. There are developers out there right now who are making fantastic games themselves, or with very small staffs. They do not need 500 people working for them. I wonder what these companies do with this money. Back in the day, it was like, a couple of scrappy programmers and graphic designers in an office putting out a game by themselves, hoping people would like it as much as they liked working on it or whatever. And sometimes it would blow up into a big thing. But like now, they're doing it backwards. They want the success before they have the sales to warrant the fancy office and the high salaries and the photo shoots and all that shit. They want to be given a high five for nothing, basically, right? You sell some games, then you get some fist bumps. But you're spending all your money up front, and a lot of these companies don't even have anything to show for it. Right? It's crazy how that works. And that's why they're not giving you more funding. They're like, where's our damn game? We're not going to give you any more. We'd like to see a game, please. Despite our continuing efforts to seek a new partner for the project, the path forward has yet to materialize. It will not materialize. Not in this economy. We are deeply grateful to NetEase Games for their support and for giving us runway to explore every possible opportunity. Did the opportunity translate into a physical game? Well, probably not physical, but digital. Did you get a game out the door? Our team poured everything into this journey, pushing creative and technical boundaries every day with passion, imagination, and craft. What we achieved together stands as lasting proof of this team's extraordinary talent. What is this? Bad Brain Game Studio. I want to see if Bad Brain Game Studio actually put any games out. Free your brain. Don't click here. I don't see any games. Okay, they got a little cartoon. Okay, they got a cartoon. About all the stuff they're gonna do. Look at all these people sitting around the table. Oh God. All these people sitting around the table. Where are your games? I don't see, I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. I think you sat in your studio for 2 years thinking about games, but not actually making games. And NetEase is like, where's our damn game? Meanwhile, you've got small teams of people that can put together a game in like 6 months and throw it on Steam and actually make some kind of a profit. Yeah, I'd shut you down too. I'm just saying, like, they're not saying anything about what they produced. And again, it's in Toronto, right? It's in Canada. Yeah, it's expensive. And we've seen this before. We saw this with Marvel Rivals. They were shutting down, I think was it their Canadian studio or Seattle studio or something? Because, the people there are expensive and they complain, and a lot of them don't work. I'm just being honest. Just being honest here. Crooks also posted a sizzle reel from their in development project, Midnight Riders, and said, game and its underlying IP is still available for acquisition or partnership, and we/NetEase are open to discussions with publishers or studios who see potential in continuing its development. Let's see what we got here. This is the sizzle reel. This is what the 2 years and... So Shenmue? Okay, it's actually... Okay, this isn't bad. So it's like a arcade simulator, 80s simulator. Stranger Things, I don't know. Okay, so, I mean, what the hell am I... It's Stranger Things. With moose demigorgons. It's Stranger Things with moose demigorgons. Okay. Kids on bikes. Killer moose and 80s arcade. It'd be okay for an indie title. I mean, yeah, but, they're probably like, how much money do we spend on this? Do I think this game is going to be a massive, massive hit? No. Needs more tits, more waifus. And that's, I think, what's going on here. Bad Brain is the 5th Western studio to be closed by NetEase over the past year, following Fantastic Pixel Castle T-0, which was resurrected by some of its founding members, Jar of Sparks and Worlds Untold. So Daniel Ahmed, the director of research and insight at analyst firm Nico Partners, said on social media that NetEase's stunning turnaround reflects a broader trend Okay, let's look at this. Let's look at this. Daniel Ahmed, the director of research and insight at analysis firm Nico Partners, said on social media that NetEase's stunning turnaround reflects a broader trend across the industry where North America-based studios are no longer a safe bet. Ahmed dove deeper into the topic earlier this year following cuts among Marvel rivals developers at NetEase's studio in Seattle. Yes. While increased geopolitical risks are a factor, Ahmed said the massive success of Black Myth Wukong, one of the biggest games of 2024, was also a major turning point in NetEase's strategy. Yes, he is correct. Let's look at this. Let's look at what he's saying. NetEase has pulled funding from more than half a dozen Western studios. This is what I wrote in February of 2025. This is a broader trend across the industry where North America-based studios are no longer seen as a safe bet. Over 70% and in some years 75% of the layoffs have been in North America. Boy, I do see a trend here. I do see a trend here. Nobody wants the garbage AAA Western games anymore. They just don't. This guy says, well, I don't disagree with the cost analysis. I haven't seen them just try to let many play out. Sometimes it's not about who can make a game cheaper, who can make a game well, and have it connect culturally to their audience. That's not easy without big IPs. I don't know. A lot of smaller developers are doing it. They're knocking it out of the park. They're making smaller games focused on gameplay, complete games mostly. Pal World was pretty scrappy, and look at what happened there. That's one of the uncomfortable truths many reporting on this don't seem to see or don't want to admit. These Western studios and their staff were being paid fortunes in comparison and still working at a snail's pace compared to the work rate found in most Chinese studios. It's not just China, it's also Japan. It's also Korea. There is an attitude of entitlement, I think, in most entertainment sectors in America, in Canada, North America. So the can-do attitude that early American game developers had, the early, scrappier comic book artists that were, indie publishers, whatever, all that, it doesn't exist for the most part. A lot of people now, they think, I went to school for this. I'm going to get a nice cushy job. It's going to be like a corporate job. They don't see the blood, sweat, and tears that the founders of their companies that they parked it at, right? They don't see what these people went through, what these guys went through to get that company off the ground. And a lot of them slept in their offices. Some of them mortgaged their homes. Might be a team of like 4 or 5 people, maybe putting a game out. I mean, you look at the early days of PC gaming, look at the early days of Atari, and there's a lot of bootstrapping going on. And that is alien to the current generation, I think, of entertainment company people. They don't want to start at the bottom. They want to start with a 6-figure salary job and job security, and then they want to unionize to get more. And there's nothing left. Like the company, most companies, when you first start, you're coasting on fumes. You might make a little profit, but then you reinvest that profit into more stuff. And I watch documentaries all the time on companies because it just fascinates me how the brands that we take for granted now, how they got their start. And, I've watched quite a few documentaries on different video game companies, and every single one of them, they're founded by risk takers. They were founded by hard workers. They're founded by people who, put their own blood, sweat, and tears into it. And they didn't know if there would be a payout because video games were a very new thing. Right? They didn't know if there's going to be any kind of payoff for them. Same with people that started social media companies or, any kind of tech company. Same with people who started businesses back in the 50s and 60s. I mean, same with Nintendo way back in the 1800s. They didn't know they were going to be the company that they are now, right? They did what they did. They did the best they could do. They would pivot when they had to pivot. These motherfuckers, they want the success. They don't want to do the work. Right? It took years, in some cases decades, for the people who started these companies to actually get that corner office, to actually make that 6-figure salary themselves, not have to reinvest that money back into their company. These motherfuckers, they want to come right in and start out at the top. and they wanted the job security, and they all, because they've, for years they've seen, well, Blizzard's doing really good and Activision's doing really good. I'm like, yeah, Activision used to be a couple of guys in a shitty office, right? Atari was a couple of guys in their garage, right? It's like, I mean, Apple Computer, rinse and repeat. A lot of these, board game companies, the guys who did Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they bought a printing press and it was too expensive to send it someplace else, bought it, did it in their garage. Now they're multimillionaires, right? They cashed out. But you got to work your way to that point. You got to work your way up. Hell, Dungeons and Dragons, they were the same thing. Do you think they were successful right out of the gate? No. But again, the attitude of the people working in the video game industry is you look the part, you get paid like someone who's successful. You work like somebody who can maybe, rest easy and fake it till you make it. And there's just a lot of fakers in the industry. And we talk about AI, and they're bringing up AI again with, Square. They're trying to say, oh, it's because of AI that Square is laying people off. I'm like, no, they're laying the people off who aren't willing to fucking work is what they're doing. Because, it's a Japanese company and they have certain expectations, and they've let the West do their thing for years, and they've just burnt money. NetEase has to be looking at this. And they're like, we let the West do their thing, and they just burnt money. I'm like, when the hell did Americans become so entitled and so lazy? Right? That used to be kind of a joke. Like, one of my favorite 80s movies of all time is actually Gung Ho. I love Gung Ho. Michael Keaton, great movie. And I can relate to it, being in the Rust Belt and being fascinated by economics and all that. But, Japan was even like, man, the Americans are just really freaking lazy. And they were. And that's the thing. In the 80s, we could admit it. There were a lot of union auto workers that were lazy compared to their Japanese counterparts. Now, the Japanese go too far the other way? Absolutely. You got to find a middle ground. We got blasted by some, idiots on YouTube because I talked about, how much harder manga creators work in Japan than their counterparts in America. But I stand by that. It's true. I think they work too hard. I don't think there's any work-life balance, but everybody's like, I want to work from home 4 days a week and have a work-life balance. I'm like, you have to earn the right to do that. You have to earn that, and you haven't done shit. I mean, it's like, it's kind of like National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, where they're talking about Eddie not having a job for years. It's like, oh, he's holding out for a management position. That's what these people are. They're like, we're holding out for a management position. And these Japanese studios are like, hell, even Japan, the kids at the school, in the high school, they clean up. They have jobs. They clean the cafeteria. They scrub the floors. They clean the classrooms. They're taught you're not above this, right? Who cares if you're the class president? Get on your hands and knees and you scrub those floors. America's lost that. I mean, I could go down this whole rabbit hole, but I see it, especially in the entertainment industry, just so much damn entitlement. And now you get what you deserve. Frankly, you didn't work for any of it. And I can't believe this company probably spent how many millions of dollars? Could you imagine what some of these devs on Steam, they're putting out very, very good games, especially given their limited resources. Could you imagine what they could do with the kind of money that NetEase was burning on these other studios? That's insane. It's staggering. Same with Square. Oh, we lost, $200 million on a game. I'm like, at $200 million, could you imagine if you gave 200 devs on Steam, indie devs on Steam, $1 million each, and said, you go make me the best game you can for $1 million. You'd get some damn good games. You'd have 200 damn good games for that amount of money, right? I mean, it's insane. This has got to end. This bloat has got to end. And I'm not trying to be anti-American, but we're a big part of the problem. The AAA game industry is a big part of the problem. AI, like I said in the previous video, is going to be used as an excuse to get rid of people. But the truth is, you're not being replaced by AI. You're being replaced full stop, because you're lazy and you cost too much and you're anti-help. You're anti-work. You're anti-help. You're a money pit, and you can go bag those fries, I guess. I don't know. I'm going to wrap it up. Please subscribe. We'll talk later.